Hello, thanks for listening to this podcast from Pertham YMCA. Politics is something that affects us all, from the old person who can't afford the electricity bill to the young person struggling to find a job or course that suits what they want to do. But do young people get their voice heard enough by politicians? Do politicians see young people as hoodies they should hug to win popularity contests? Or do they see them as people who can help to better their own community if only they were given opportunity and resources to do so? We were lucky enough to be involved in a question time hosted by YMCA Scotland, where young people went head to head with 4 leading Scottish politicians and asked them important questions such as: why do young people think there are so few opportunities to develop themselves and get into employment?
What's happened is that unemployment has become the forgotten issue the past few years. That this presumption that we're now almost at full employment, that unemployment ceases to be a problem and a feature in our community, and it just simply isn't true. Now, I'm a Westminster Member of Parliament and I deal with these issues day in, day out. What we've got with this government is like trying to get everybody back to work and getting it in getting a job, getting people back in employment is the great talisman of the modern politics. It started with young people with New Deal. When the new Labour government came in 1997, it was one of the first things they did was to try and ensure that young people were going to be almost forced back into work, and this was how they were going to do it. Now they're looking at how to get disabled people back into work and single parents back into work. And what the benefit system is therefore designed to do is to disincentivise people from being unemployed, and it's trying to push people back into employment, but it just doesn't work. And the way the loopholes, as you properly point out, and this is so familiar to like any Westminster Member of Parliament, when you look at these sort of things, it's failing, and the whole benefit system isn't appropriate, isn't working for the vast majority of people who depend on it for their day-to-day income. It doesn't allow people to get back into work because of the problems that Murdo correctly identified. It's not supporting people when they are unemployed to try and ensure that they do get access to the skills and education that they require in order to find those jobs that might be available. And it's not doing anything in terms of, the general welfare of young people who are... I see so many people who are suffering depression, who are suffering all sorts of skills, all sorts of stress and anxieties about getting back into work. And we have to get a benefit system that actively helps, encourages, supports people back into either full-time employment or re-education, and at the same time make sure that they're going to be properly provided for if they are unfortunate enough not to have a job.
No, I'm familiar with this because I see it on a daily basis working for Fairbridge. A lot of the guys coming to Fairbridge can't actually undertake some of our courses because they can't sign on if they're going away. So they'll lose their benefit if they come on a course with us. And that's the catch-22, because how are they ever going to pull themselves out of that situation where they need benefits if they can't access the skills provision that we're giving to them? That's an absolute nightmare of a situation. And you're absolutely right, New Deal has failed a lot of young people. And what's more is that there's very little incentive for you to actually go out and get work, because the money that you're getting at the lower level of a new job is buttons more than you're getting on benefits. We need a properly thought out benefits system, and one which doesn't penalise young people for undertaking youth work opportunities.
I think the current approach to benefits is just a mess that needs sorted out. And another example that you didn't refer to, but I'm sure you'll be familiar with, is if you're currently on benefits and say you take up a job, right, and you get offered a job, and you take it up, and for whatever reason the job doesn't work out, and then you leave after a week. You then got to go through the whole rigmarole of reapplying for all your benefits, and it could be a month before actually your benefits kick in again. Now, that's a huge disincentive for somebody who's currently unemployed to take on a job they might not be comfortable with. Now, and it completely mitigates against people then being prepared to try and raise themselves out of the situation they're in, because they don't want to take that risk. Because if it's something they haven't tried before, if it's a new skill that they're trying to acquire and they're taking a risk, they don't know if it's going to work out. If it doesn't work out, they could end up back on the streets because the money's not coming in. So I think we need a completely new approach to this.
When I looked at the range of questions that we had this morning, I'm really surprised that wasn't one of the top ones about the fact that so many young people are coming through our colleges and universities saddled with debt as they start their working life. I think the average now, when you qualify from either college or university, is £11,000. And what are we actually trying to create here? Young people, 22, 23-year-old, coming out of university, saddled with debt of that proportion. It's disgraceful and it's appalling. And I'm not trying to make any party political points at all, and I'm not being any party political point scoring, but it's one thing I'll say, and one thing only, And we would end that. It's not right that people come through their college or university courses saddled with that debt. It's one thing the Scottish National Party will put an end to. And what we'll also do, I was a beneficiary of a full student grant because of the background I came from. I was very grateful for that. It actually seemed like a lot of money in my day when I was 18-year-old going to college and getting this grant. Now, Tony Blair got that grant. Jack McConnell got that grant. I know Jack got it because he was a student contemporary of mine. So why are young people not being able to get those grants now too? And that is another thing that we would reintroduce, would be a system of student grants to help people go through college and university. What we want is young people contributing immediately to the economy when they came out. We don't want them saddled with debt. We want them to ensure that they can start their working life with a fresh slate, out with their qualification, not out with a big, massive debt.